Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make a graph for the Domino Dash Lab. So you should already have the length and the time you've received from the lab. So that's straight up data. I will let you know that my data is made up. This is random data that does not make sense. So if you turn in something that has these numbers, I'm going to know that it's not correct. So this is stuff I made up for the teaching purposes only. So just make sure you're paying attention to what I do and not the numbers I get. So you should have got what I have selected here as part of your lab. So what you're going to do is you're going to calculate the speed by dividing the distance divided by the time. Now, if you need to go back and get a refresher on how to do that, go back and watch the video I posted for the 140-meter lab that we did earlier this week. It'll show you how to calculate it and instantly do all the calculations for each one below. So I'm going to save some time by not going over that. So what I do really want to focus on today is doing the graphs. So to make a graph, you need to highlight the things that you want to be a part of it. So down here it says I want a graph of distance and time. So our distance was in centimeters here and our time was in seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this data and highlight it all. Then I'm going to go up to Insert. I'm going to go to Chart. So select the data, go to Insert, click on Chart. It's going to spit out a random chart at you. This is not correct. So if you have a column chart, that's not right. What you want is a scatter plot. So you're going to click on Chart Type and go all the way down till you see Scatter. Click on Scatter, and that's the correct chart that you want. Now we're going to need to, I'm going to drag it over here, and I'm going to use this to edit the X and the Y axis because I want distance over time because our slope of the line should equal the speed, and that's what we've talked about in class. So the slope is equal to the rise over the run. And if you look at these numbers, you can see that the time is here in your Y and your X or your run is the distance. So that's backwards. So what you're going to need to do is switch it. So you're going to go to the X axis thing right here. Click on that, switch that to time. So we want our series to then be the length of the row. So all I did was I switched the X and the Y axis. So I have distance as my rise and my time as my run. So that switches it to the type of chart you want. Now what you're going to need to do is edit it a little bit so it's easier to read. So you're going to click on Customize, and you go to Chart Axis and Titles. And you're going to want to make the chart title the things you're comparing. So you're comparing the distance to the time. So you want distance, okay, to time. Right? And then you want to label the X and the Y axis now. So if I click on chart title here, it'll give me a drop down and I'll have the horizontal and the vertical axis. So my X and my Y. So my horizontal axis, like we talked about earlier, is time. So you're going to type in time in that box below and it'll edit it in real time here. Then you're going to click on this box again and go back to vertical. Our vertical axis is our Y axis, and which in our case is our distance. When you do that, it'll automatically update it. So now I have a distance time graph and it shows you your plot. So this is what I want you to do in order to check this box here. So far I've filled in everything with the speed calculated. That's done. All right, so now I want you to describe the trends you see. So as the time goes on, what happens to the distance and what happens to the speed? So I want you to look at the speed at each case and you can describe what you see. So the graph can help you see what's happening in the picture before you even look at the data. So the distance and time here. All right, so what's happening to my speed? Remember, the slope of your line is the speed of your graph. All right, so make sure you put that here and make sure that you have complete sentences for your answer. If you want to do the extra credit, you're going to follow the same steps as we did for making this graph, but you're going to use speed and time instead.